Thank you for joining me on this Sunday. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. A massive system is brewing. You see it here. Every storm is different. Hurricane Ian, for example, very high winds to say the least in that massive storm surge. This is going to be such a large system as a whole. So regardless of some of the development in the winds in it, the impacts are going to be wide ranging, and we've already seen the flooding. This is a very large system that is developing, and I do believe it could become a hurricane. So I want to get into the models, the most likely track of this system, and the steering conditions all in this video. You see it here. The immediate concern is we've had the flooding in parts of the Dominican Republic, which has been awful in spots. Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands. We're going to watch these rain bands throughout the day. That's why I do this channel. Safety across the Caribbean, scattered showers and storms back through the ABC Islands. But I need to see these the systems developing up here, but you get these rain bands moving in. So if you've already had some of the flooding and you get some of these rain bands today, St. Kitts and Nevis, for example, Montserrat, we could get some additional flooding. That's the immediate concern I'm going to watch out for, and then watching this develop. So let's get right to it. This is the American model, 4 o'clock today, system trying to develop some, but there are those feeder bands I mentioned, watching over towards St. Lucia, Barbados for that chance of rain, moving up toward Antigua and Barbuda, and Puerto Rico, watching out to see how these kind of set up throughout the day. You see Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands and the U.S. Virgin Islands, that chance of rain throughout the day. All right, this is Monday. Look how big this system is. It's not super strong. Scattered showers and storms across the eastern Caribbean, monitoring the flooding as well tomorrow. But this system will be just to the east of the Turks and Caicos and Bahamas, but that northeasterly flow is already with us. So very, very high coastal impacts, parts of the Bahamas into Florida. That's already starting. That's already started as the system sits offshore. And this is Tuesday, late on Tuesday. At this point, it could be a tropical storm or a subtropical storm. If it's a subtropical storm, just a little bit in the way of different characteristics, but it doesn't matter a whole lot. Look at this, the northeasterly flow continuing. Northern and central Bahamas. We've got 700 plus islands here across the Bahamas. Southern Bahamas better shape, Turks and Caicos better shape, but this strong flow, just the pounding along the coast, and of course in the Bahamas, we're all along the coast. Then as we get into Wednesday at this point, look at this, Northern Bahamas potentially near Nassau. This could be a strong tropical storm or a hurricane. At this point, this is Wednesday, not as much across the Caribbean, just some scattered showers and storms. The focus will be across the Bahamas into Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, that huge fetch, just that huge onshore kind of a wind that is just consistent for 4, 5, even 6 days. And then Wednesday into Thursday, this could be a hurricane either working right into Florida or just kind of riding up the coast. Tropical storm or hurricane at that point, Wednesday into Thursday across the peninsula. And look at that onshore flow still across the Caribbean, not as much. But look at this, a very active November. Even by the time we get into the end of the week, we'll be watching a little resurgence of moisture. Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, Barbados, a higher chance of some rain. That won't be related to the system up to the north. So the European model, very similar to the American model that I just showed you. They're in agreement right now, which is, kind of raising the bar for Florida and the Bahamas as far as what can happen with this system and the need to make some preparations at this point, especially along the coast. Similar to the American model, that means high impacts, Bahamas and Florida, still to be determined because it does depend a little bit on the overall, of course it depends on the track, but it's still kind of far out in time. So still waiting to see those steering conditions, which I'll get into. The Canadian model takes it more up the coast, kind of just offshore of Florida and then into the Carolinas. But I use that with caution. Even if it were to do this, that's just the center. Already, we're going to have major impacts across coastal Florida and the Bahamas, regardless if it stays offshore or moves onshore. I can't stress that enough. This is a large system with days and days of pounding seas, those waves just crashing on shore. The protective dunes are gone in many spots because of what happened with Ian. So that model showing it may ride up the coast. What we're seeing now is, so you have high pressure here, the developing system here. Think of all you need to know about high pressure is it's like a blocker. So this is here. This isn't going to really move anywhere as of now. So that's why it's going to sit there for days and days. with that easterly flow impacting the central and northern Bahamas and Florida, and even Georgia and the Carolinas with that onshore flow for days and days. That's why that coastal flooding is a major issue. Then eventually this area of high pressure will break down and this system will get caught up into a front. It's just kind of a wait and see. Does it curl up toward the Carolinas sooner like the Canadian, or does it work its way into Florida? So that's the overall setup that I'm seeing with that. The most likely path is this does become a tropical storm, borderline hurricane, works its way into the peninsula of Florida and then back to the north. So this could become a hurricane Wednesday into Thursday. Even if it's not a hurricane, the impact's generally the same. If the winds are 60 or the winds are 80, the impacts are going to be very close to, that's miles per hour, very close to the same, because it's just such a sprawly, large system that regardless of how it exactly develops, the coastal impacts are going to be in play and the inland flooding are going to be in play. And you can pick a spot on the map where you are, point being where you see these brighter colors. We just need to see these rain bands setting up, but we could still get some spots, 125 millimeters of rain today in a few spots in the Caribbean. That would be the equivalent of about 4 to 5 inches if you get stuck in some of those feeder bands, and that would give that potential of some flooding northeastern Caribbean today, and then eventually that makes its way back toward the northern Bahamas and Florida, where 6 to 10 inches of rain could be possible by later this week. But that is track dependent, so I'm going to monitor the rain for you. Water temperatures plenty warm enough for this time of year. Yeah, they're cooling some, 27 to about 30 degrees, 80 to 86 Fahrenheit. Conditions are conducive for some strengthening with this system as we go forward. So today, to spell it out for you clearly, monitoring the Caribbean flooding as we go throughout the day. Tomorrow the system could become a tropical storm, could become a named system. Major coastal impacts regardless, Bahamas, Florida, even up through the Carolinas. Then Wednesday and Thursday, this could become a hurricane. Major erosion, major coastal issues, and those high seas. Captains, mariners, again, trying to avoid this area, no doubt. Now, the next two names on the list are Nicole and Owen. This one may not become Nicole. It could become Owen. There's a little spin wheel out in the Atlantic, no issue. That may get a name first. So I'm not sure which name this system will get, but it will be Nicole or Owen. So this is a large system, a very, very high impact event for spots, and I'll take you through it throughout the days. The immediate issue will be down in the Caribbean with the rain, because we've already had that flooding. I promise to keep you covered. Leave your comments. Let me know what's going on where you are. I'll try to get to those comments throughout the day, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.